children lost, ensnared by a witch's binding spell. Jessiline, the awakened soul, yearns to escape and find a new home. Dare you join her and explore more?
Looking at some of the creepiest photos that forest trail cameras have taken, I believe. And just to briefly summarize what forest trail cameras are, there's actually a little paragraph here I can read. It says, hunters and researchers alike use trail cameras to study animals in the wild. But because they're hidden from view, these cameras sometimes end up capturing things that don't necessarily want to be seen, which is kind of creepy. And with that being said, we're going to look at some of them. This could be a little scary for the younger children viewers, so just be warned. So this is the first one. It's, if you look on the left, it's just a deer kind of just staring into the camera, and then behind him in like the forest there is, it looks like a man with his mouth open. I don't know, this is so scary to me. I don't know if it's a ghost, I don't know if it's a real person, but it's just in the background there, just chilling. Just hanging out. Then this one's kind of cute actually. I feel like sometimes the cameras just catch the cutest sort of animals staring into them. Next we have another picture of a deer on the right there, and this deer is staring at some little girl that's like emerging from the trees and the bushes. I don't know, like, see, I don't know if these are supposed to be ghosts or like paranormal images, or if there's actually children and like people walking through the forest at night. I don't know. Maybe she's lost. Maybe she's something else, something out of this world. Ugh, I don't like this one because the eyes are glowing, but yeah, this forest camera took a picture of something crawling on the ground and it's got like laser eyes. I feel like this one is less realistic, if you know, like I feel like this could have been set up. It could have been a person trying to freak out the people who have the forest cameras, or it's just like photoshopped. You know, don't believe everything you see. Ugh. I think this one's not supposed to be that scary, but this deer, I guess it is its eye is right up to the forest camera. It's found the camera. It knows it's being spied on, okay? Deers are smart. They're smarter than you know. This is obviously photoshopped, obviously. And if you guys believe this is real, then, you know, I wish I had your imagination too. Unless it's like a statue or something out there. No. It's photoshopped. Woo, okay, this one freaks me out. It's like a man or a woman running through the grass in the forest with a long nightgown on. It either looks like they're sleepwalking or they just escaped like a mental institute asylum because, you know, they're wearing one of those long dress things. I don't know, maybe even a hospital. But they have left the building and they are now running through the forest, okay? They're like Julie Andrews from Sound of Music, just running through the grass, through the hills. This is just like a black bear chilling out, you know, having a good time on the ground. I don't know what this deer is being chased by, but it looks like it has wings and a creepy eye. And we're just gonna leave it at that because I don't know how to explain this one. Woo! Guys, why do I film these videos in my basement? I feel like I ask this question all the time. But there is a creepy boy kind of walking up to the camera. His eyes are glowing. Is he sleepwalking? That's the only thing I think of in this scenario. Maybe he has a house nearby, okay, near the forest, and he's out just, you know, dreaming and walking. Trying to make myself feel better, okay? Oh man. Yeah, that is a clown staring at the forest camera. This is obviously someone trying to mess with people because this has got to be a joke or a prank, at least that's what I want to tell myself. It's a prank. This is a deer that is about to be attacked by a flying squirrel. Is that what that is? I don't know, but that deer is about to be very unhappy in a matter of 0.5 seconds. Alright, so another picture of some creepy figure just hanging out in the trees, like just standing there. What is it? Why isn't it a long nightgown? Is this the same person that was running through the grass? I just want answers, guys. as I was doing research for some of my videos, I came across this creepypasta. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard of this before, but it's called I Found a Digital Camera in the Woods. Now, this was posted by someone completely anonymous, as are most creepypastas, so I'm gonna link my source down below in the description, but the original poster of this we will honestly never know, and I think a lot of people do that to make it more creepy and make it more mysterious. So you guys know that I have a forest in my backyard. So the minute I saw the title of this creepypasta, it intrigued me, and I went on to reading it, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm gonna show you because this creepypasta is based on this person going into this really weird forest and finding a digital camera just lying on the ground. And what they did was they took that digital camera, brought it home, uploaded the photos, and this creepypasta is all about sharing what's in these photos, and woo, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. So let's start with the first paragraph of this post. The writing is not very long, it's more about the pictures, as I said. So it says, last week I drove to a nearby town. The town was surrounded by tall hills and mountains. You can have a very pleasant hike down any of the numerous trails there. Anyway, I was climbing one trail when I saw what looked like a silver box. When I approached it, I saw that it was a digital camera. It was a 3.3 megapixel PowerShot S20. It was slightly scuffed, but otherwise it was fine. It rained the next day, so I was really lucky to get there when I did. When I got home, I saw that it had a 300 megabyte hard drive inside. So it has a really large value, it's a really expensive camera, so he says, I pity the fool who dropped it so carelessly. Anyways, I just wanted to share the pictures. Now, I feel like I personally am not a very observant person, so when I first glanced through these pictures, I didn't see anything unusual. So right now, I'm just gonna show you all the thumbnails of the pictures so you can look at them as a whole really quickly, and then we're gonna go through them one by one, and I hope you guys can see some of the things hidden in these pictures. Don't worry, there's no jump scares or anything. I would never do something like that to you guys. We're just gonna look at them in detail and be our own detectives here, because these pictures tell the story of what happened to the guy who left his camera in the woods. Isn't that scary? So I'm gonna tell you what I personally see, and if you guys see anything else, definitely comment it down below, because when thousands of people are looking at it at once, I feel like everyone is gonna see something different than what I see. So this is the very first picture that was on the camera. I don't see anything abnormal. It looks like he was about to go on his hike. He took his first picture. Everything looks fine here, aside from it being a slightly creepy forest. But it's still like daylight, it's not foggy, everything looks okay. So here is the next picture. It shows some sort of gate that says stop, so it's clearly telling people that you cannot cross this path. It could be dangerous, there could be something abandoned there could be like poison ivy, there could be stuff that they don't want people venturing into. So by this guy taking a picture of it, we can assume in the story that he's about to go past it. He's one of those rebellious photographers, those rebellious hikers that just want to explore and don't want to be like confined to a trail, you know what I mean? So this is where everything changes, because as you can see, once he passes that like stop sign, everything in the forest seems to get foggy. So before it was really light, it was sunny, and now all of a sudden it looks like a forest from your nightmares. Now in this picture, I personally don't see anything yet. It seems like he's just walking down this path, still taking pictures. And then here is the next picture, and this one's sort of blurry and weird, and it just seems like there's fog everywhere, and it almost looks like he's walking really quickly taking this picture, because as you guys know, if you're like running or using a lot of motion when you're taking a photo, usually it'll be like out of focus, a little bit wonky. So it seems like that's what's happening here, but yet again, I don't actually see anything creepy in this picture. Then we get to this fabulous one. Now, I cannot believe that I didn't see this when I first looked at this photo. Like when I was first glancing through all of these, I was like, oh, it's a creepy forest. Nothing's actually there though. How did I not see that like dude's silhouette standing behind those trees? As I show these to you, I'm gonna try and show you like the circled pictures just so you guys know where I'm looking. So in my opinion, when this guy took this photo, he didn't notice this figure, because why would he continue his hike through the forest if he saw something that scary? Like if you're in a forest or you're anywhere and you see someone watching you, I feel like you're not gonna continue your journey. You're gonna like leave or call someone or like run away, you know what I mean? So I think when he first took this, he had no idea there was a figure standing there. Because as you can see by this next one, he continues panning around the forest taking pictures. So he was probably just like taking taking one and continuing it so fast and not actually looking at the footage that he has. I don't see anything particularly weird in this one, but as I keep saying, comment down below if you see something that I don't see. But I just love these creepypastas where it requires you to look at photos and like find things for yourself. That's sort of like the Dear David one, right? Like you had so much photo evidence to look at. Like those are the best creepypastas. So here's the next one. I don't see anything weird about this one, but still, it's such a creepy forest and it just seems like he's just like taking pictures all around him. And then he approaches this tree. Now I know it's hard for you guys to sort of see these things, but it looks like there are these tiny cat-looking like creatures sitting on a branch and sitting behind a tree. And you can kind of see like they have eyes, they have these little pointy ears, and they're just sitting in this tree looking at this guy. I mean, it could be a girl. I don't know why I keep saying guy. I mean, it could be either. And then he gets even closer to it, and here you guys can probably see it better. But what the heck are in the trees? It looks like little spider cats or little monkeys or just really tiny creatures watching him from above. I really have no idea what they're supposed to be. If anyone knows more information about this creepypasta and what creatures they actually are, please tell me, because I was looking through all the comments on the actual like creepypasta site and no one knows what they actually are. Alright, so here's the next one. So he's clearly continuing walking down the path. I don't see anything in this one, but I mean, this guy is brave. This guy is so brave, and it seems like he's totally alone in this, so I don't know if he does this all the time, if he's just a pro at it. I don't know, but I can't relate to like this bravery. If I ever go to haunted places or creepy places, I'm always taking someone with me. And I would never go on a hike alone because like there's bears and stuff. Forget the paranormal creatures. There are bears out there. Okay, so he clearly comes across something very abandoned and broken down. It's some stone building that must be hundreds of years old, and that is probably why there was that stop sign on the path, because people aren't supposed to go near this because it could crumble down, it could hurt them. It's just sort of a dangerous thing, and it could be something that is, you know, trying to be protected. It could be something historical that, you know, they don't want people to ruin. But anyways, he comes across this old place, and I don't see anything particular in this picture, but let's continue. So he's still taking pictures of this really cool place. I have no idea what it would have been. It's just so creepy how it's just so foggy out there. And at the beginning it was so sunny and bright and everything was okay. So now he seems to be actually walking into the center of this abandoned building. He has to go through that little like tunnel pathway thing. I don't know if you guys remember, but I actually went on a hike. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I came across a place that looks actually a lot like this, just a bit smaller. If I have a clip of the place I found, I'll put it in right now. But doesn't this have like similar vibes? I don't know, it might just be me. So yeah, all of these last few pictures, I don't see anything, but once you get to this part, so it seems like he's done exploring there, now he's continuing down the path, and I don't know if you guys can see, but in that far right window, there is like a head and shoulders, like something is watching him leave. So this whole time, there's always something that has eyes on him, and he literally doesn't know it yet. Alright, so this picture is probably the most obvious one, but as I said, when I first looked at these, I didn't see it, so I don't know what's wrong with me. But he's continuing to walk, and as you can see in the fog there's something that's sort of walking towards him. It's a figure, but it's sort of warped, like it's almost like it's leaning slightly to the side. It looks sort of zombie-ish. I have no idea what it's supposed to be, but he's still being watched, and I still don't think he actually sees it in that moment, probably because of the fog. A camera can pick up a lot more than what your eyes can see. I've learned that from going to places, so that's just so creepy. This next part, hiding, I don't know if it's in the tree or in that bush there, but to the far left you can see eyes. He is still being watched. This whole entire experience for him is just him being stalked by random mysterious creatures. So then he approaches this, and I don't know what it is, but the fact that it's something so tall, because first of all, I'm so afraid of heights, but the fact that it kind of gets lost in the fog as it gets higher and higher up, I would never venture there. But he seems intrigued by it. He takes a picture of it. I don't see anything in this picture, but here he is walking up these stairs. Why is he doing this to himself? I do not know. He doesn't really look stable, and it's creepy because in this picture, literally looking out, you can't see anything. That's how foggy it is, because I don't think those are walls. I think that's literally just the fog in the air around this thing. What is it? It's not a lighthouse. Like, what is it? Some lookout station? Some electrical... I don't know, guys. And then it seems like he's almost at the top because he takes a picture looking down back to the path, and it just looks like a picnic bench there. I don't really see anything just yet. And this is the first time you ever see one of his body parts, which sounds really weird. But you've never seen like his hand or his feet or his shoulders or even himself fully in any of these pictures until now. And what does it say? Caution? I don't know if it says caution or what, but it is in English. So I have no idea where this has taken place. But who this picture. So it seems like he was almost at the very top, and he took a picture of what seems like some sort of creature looking out from the top of this place. I don't know if this creature is using that lookout to look for this guy, or I don't know what's going on here, but clearly he finally saw this creature and took a picture of it. So now it shows him running down the stairs, because of course you would do that. Imagine just being out there by yourself and seeing that. And here are some running pictures, because that's what I would be doing as well. And as you can see, as I said before, when you're running and stuff like that, the whole camera is just distorted. So yeah, this is just him running through the fog, wishing he never ever went there, I bet. And then these last few pictures, it looks like it's getting darker. So it looks like he's been out in this place for quite a long time, probably arrived in the morning. It's getting dark. He probably has a long way home. He's probably regretting all of his decisions. So these pictures are just him like panning around the forest, and it just gets foggier and foggier. But if you look in this one in the fog, it looks like there is some sort of creature in there about to get him. It almost looks alien-like. It might literally just be an alien. And then this is the very last picture. His camera's on the ground. He was obviously taken by whatever this creature was, and this was the place that the guy who posted this found the camera. So I don't know, guys. I was so intrigued by this story, so definitely let me know what you think down below. As you guys know, I do have a security camera outside my house. It keeps me safe, it makes me feel protected, and I have caught a lot of really strange things on that. I've made tons of videos about the strange ghost orbs, weirdly long cat, people on my porch, haunted doll. Everything has been on my front porch apparently. So I was really intrigued when I found this article online showing a bunch of weird things that other people have caught on their motion cameras or security cameras. So I thought that I would sit down here and share those with you today. They do have the pictures with the stories, so I love when I have stories that have evidence with it. I feel like it's more interesting, you guys like it more, and it's all a better thing, you know. Wow, my hair is drying really poofy. Okay, so this first post was made by someone who has the username called deleted, I don't know. But it's called Ghost Woman Caught on Motion Sensor Camera. It says, this is a picture of a ghost woman we think we captured on a friend's motion sensor camera on their property in rural Virginia. There are cameras all around the house, and all the entrances and exits of the property are covered. So they're like full out protected with their cameras. She is only seen leaving but never coming in. The camera is black and white because it's dark outside when it was captured, and it creeped us all out. Okay, so I'm gonna click on this picture. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. This is gonna be like a jump scare, I don't know. Okay, so here is the picture. That is so weird. It doesn't even look like a human. And like, how would you even explain that rationally? Because that's not an animal, clearly. Unless it's a person running by the camera really fast. But you have to be like the Flash to do that, so I don't know. And it almost looks like she's holding on to her arm for some reason. Like, is she an injured ghost? Like, what is happening? But yeah, if I woke up in the morning and I looked at my previous like camera recordings and this was on it, it would really freak me out. And I wish there was a video of it, but I guess a lot of people's cameras just capture pictures. Mine does that too. It does like both pictures and videos. So I think for each picture I should say if I think it's legit or not. This one, I'm like on the fence. I'm like in the middle of yes and no. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. I'm also gonna link each article down below in the description. Okay, this one also freaks me out so much. It's called A Mom Receives a Disturbing Text from the Nanny Cam. It says, one night while the mother of the little boy in the photograph above was at work, even though her husband was home, she decided to check the security camera notifications so she could sneak a peek of her little boy while she was away. What she saw instead was absolutely terrifying. The little boy doesn't seem very fazed as he plays in his bed, but behind him there seems to be a pretty terrifying looking man. Imagine the mother's horror when seeing someone so terrifying close to her baby. She ended up calling the father and freaking out, only to find out that she was pranked by her husband. So this is proven as a hoax, but the image is still terrifying. Oh my gosh, you have no idea the relief I felt when I read that line that it's just her husband. When Ty and I have kids, if he ever does this to me, it's kind of good he doesn't watch my videos because then he might get some ideas, so. No, he won't. Hopefully. This next one is just called Strange Creature, and it was posted by the vitamin_K. Vitamins are good for you. So it says, a little background on this image. This was taken by my aunt's motion camera around 2 to 3 years ago, and since then, I've come across the image again, and at first I thought it must be an owl of some sort, since they are pretty common around the main area. But the more I look at it, the stranger it gets, and I have no idea what this thing could be. Any help would be appreciated. So let's click on this image. It's so freaky because I just see a link, like I can't preview the image, so once I click on it, it's just right in front of me on my laptop. Okay, ready? Oh my goodness, what in the world? It looks like an owl creature. It looks like if an owl was like powered up. What is this, a video game? I don't know, it's like an owl times 200. It's like Beast Owl, Monster Owl, right? Like, I don't know what that is. It could just be like an owl landing on the porch, but the way the picture was taken, it like stretched out its body. I don't know. Cameras can do weird glitchy things sometimes. Like that cat that was on my porch, it could have just been a glitch where the camera just sort of extended its body. I don't really know. Let me know what you guys think of this creature down below. I think a lot of people in these comments were saying that it looks like Mothman or something. I don't know what Mothman is. Should I look up Mothman? I'm gonna look up Mothman. Oh, that's the Mothman. Interesting. It kind of looks like a big bat. In West Virginia folklore, the Mothman is a creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 12th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. So it was only seen around for a year? Interesting. It says, people claim to see a man-like figure fly low from the trees over their heads. This is often identified as the first known sighting of what became known as the Mothman. Shortly after, on November 15th, 1966, two young couples from Point Pleasant, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Millette, told police they saw a large gray creature whose eyes glowed red when the car's headlight picked it up. They described it as a large flying man with 10-foot wings, following their car while they were driving in an area outside of the town known as the TNT area. People said it also looked like a large bird with red eyes. Oh my gosh, this goes on and on. There's so many accounts of this Mothman thing. There's even a statue of it in West Virginia. So people took that very serious. Wow. Sorry to get like off topic and everything. I didn't mean to. I was just like, people were saying that this thing looked like the Mothman, and it doesn't. Really? Someone also commented, not to sound crude or like a troll, but that honestly looks like a person in a dog mascot suit. But after reading a previous comment, it looks more like a lady picking something up off the porch. Oh, do you guys see that? Okay, that freaks me out even more because at first I saw like an owl man and now I'm seeing a lady bending down at the top of the step. Do you guys see that? Ugh, that's weird. Anyways, on to the next one, shall we? This one is posted by My Mom Can't Even. These are some really interesting usernames. So this next one is called Two Children Appearing to Be from the 1940s Were Playing in a Driveway and Caught on a Hidden Camera. That's creepy. So I'm gonna read like the little summary of it and then we'll look at it together. Are you ready? Okay, it says, my aunt sent me this photo in 2012. Sorry. She's young, was sane, and lived alone. Someone kept taking down her flag at night, so she decided to set up a hidden camera. She used trail cam, typically used for hunting. If you're familiar with this camera, it takes consecutive bursts of photos when motion is detected. This photo was amongst a burst of photos that didn't show anything unusual. Only one frame showed this, which appears to be two blurred children dressed in clothing from another time. If you zoom in on the little girl's shoes, you see what I mean. You can even Google search this. It isn't isn't anywhere else and it isn't photoshopped or altered in any way. Also, why would two small children be in my single aunt's driveway past midnight? She does not have or live near any kids. We live in Michigan, so it's anywhere between 30 to 45 degrees on average in early November. You need a jacket, especially at night. My aunt bought her home in 2012 and has had lots of unexplained events happen to her in the home since then. Each year that has gone by, she seems to isolate more and more, and I'm worried it has something to do with something in her home. So now let's click on the link, okay? Are you ready? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh. Ew. Yeah, it actually does, especially the one on the right. You can see the shoes and the legs. That is terrifying. And they must be walking really, really fast or like doing some really fast motion because you can't even see like their body because it's moving so fast. I don't know. I'm getting major creeps looking at this photo. Oh, it's just after midnight. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, I haven't been saying if I think they're legit or not. Okay, the last one was that thing that looked like a Mothman plus a person leaning over. I think that one's real, but I think it is actually just a person. This one, I think this could be real. I actually do. What do you guys think? Okay, this one freaks me out so much. And this one doesn't have a link, so I can already see the picture like on this article. And this one's called An Unexpected Visitor. It says, this Reddit user received notifications that someone was on his front doorstep. The man had come several times throughout the day, just staring into the camera each time. The scariest part of the image is the eerie smile he's giving the camera as he just blankly stares into the lens. This is not the kind of notification anyone would want, especially when it's letting you know who might be waiting outside your house. Oh my gosh. Do you think it's like a friend playing a joke on him or something? That's just so weird to me. And it looks like the guy's wearing like thick eyeliner. Okay, this next one is called A Burglar Watches a Baby Sleep. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. It says this nanny cam one family used ended up capturing a burglar one night. And the scariest part was the burglar stopped and stared at the baby for several minutes. When the police were notified, they checked out the house only to find that there was no sign of a forced entry, nothing missing, and pretty much no sign of the intruder at all, except for what was on the nanny cam. He had come for something and seen the cameras and decided it wasn't worth the risk. But was it someone the family knew trying to take something they might not notice was missing? The intruder still has not been found, and the terrifying occurrence only happened a couple months ago. Ooh, imagine like this person not being found. I swear, if anyone ever broke into my house or something, I would not sleep ever again if the police didn't find them. Like, that's terrifying to me. Alright, so let's get into our very first creepy pet cam story. This one is called Strange Notifications. This story is about a man named Tom that recently moved into an apartment complex that was apparently built in the 1950s. Him and his ex-wife shared their cat named Benny, so he'd have him one week and she would have him the other. But because Tom was away at work for most of the day whenever he had Benny, he decided to get a pet camera so he could keep an eye on him. Now, for those of you who have a pet camera, you know that if your dog or cat is ever in distress, either barking or crying or meowing really loud, your pet camera will send a notification to your phone telling you that. That way you're always aware of what's really going on inside your house. And then you can go on your phone and check the camera and see what your pet is really doing. Well, Benny was a very quiet cat. He rarely made any noise, so Tom figured that he would never ever get any notifications. Well, the very first day that he installed the camera and went into work, only an hour after he had left, his phone began to buzz. It sent him a notification that said noise alert. So he clicked on the camera. He was able to see inside of his house, but Benny was nowhere to be seen. He only heard this distant crying. And it was just so bizarre because it really didn't sound like Benny. And then he came home and found Benny hiding under the bed as if he had been spooked by something. And the following days, whenever he went to work, he would instantly get that notification on his phone saying that Benny was crying. And every time he'd open up the camera and he'd hear the distant sound of Benny loudly meowing in the house somewhere. And after a week of this, he felt really helpless. He didn't really know what to do. He figured that maybe Benny was just way too afraid of being alone in the house. So he had to make the really tough decision of giving Benny to his ex full time because she worked from home and could give him more company, which is like so sad. Now, soon after Benny moved out permanently, Tom was walking through the lobby of his apartment building and ran into to one of his neighbors. He apologized to her about his cat being so loud over the past week, and she looked confused and told him that she never heard any loud meowing. And just as he was about to leave and head back to his room, the lady grabbed his arm and told him something that made his heart drop. She said that his apartment specifically had been vacant for years because people claimed it was haunted. The legend was that a mother and baby passed away in a fire that broke out in the 1960s, and anyone who passes by that room since have heard the sound of a baby crying. So the whole time he thought it was his cat loudly meowing off in the distance, but what he was really hearing was this creepy spirit baby crying. Many people have said that meowing cats do really sound like crying babies, especially if they're really in distress. And so now it makes sense that when he got home from work, Benny was terrified, hiding somewhere in the house, because he was either probably seeing this spirit child or hearing the crying as well and like ran somewhere to hide. Because as I said, before he installed this pet camera, he always said his cat was so quiet, didn't meow, didn't make any noise whatsoever. So it just all came together for him when he heard this story. And I feel like this apartment complex should have told him previously that someone died in there. Aren't you legally obligated to do that? I don't know, but this story was so creepy when I heard about it. Then the next story is called The Whispering. This story comes from a dog sitter named Anna, who said that she would always go to this couple's house in their neighborhood on a Friday night so they could go out on a date night. And their two dogs were very destructive and just couldn't be left alone, which I feel like is very relatable for me. They had this dog camera in the corner of the kitchen that was on all hours of the day, even when Anna wasn't over babysitting. So she was just used to it always being on 24/7, especially while she was there. What she did notice is that the dogs would act very strangely around it. They would constantly walk up and put their ear right beside the speaker and would sometimes stand there for minutes on end. And after this happening for about a month, she decided to bring it up to the owners, and they too said that they had been noticing that as well. But they just chalked it up to their dogs being very curious as to why there was a camera on the floor. And that's true. Dogs are very curious. They will sniff things, walk up to things, especially if it's something sort of new in the house. Well, not too long after this conversation, Anna got a phone call from the very distressed couple saying that their pet camera had been hacked. Apparently they had been cleaning their kitchen floor and had to pick up the camera to like sweep underneath it, and they heard the faintest sound of whispering coming from the speaker. It was a man's voice speaking so fast that the words he was saying couldn't even be understood. And the creepy thing about this is that dogs' hearing is so much better than humans. So these poor dogs had been hearing the whispering for weeks. The babysitter didn't hear it, the dog's owners didn't hear it, only they heard it, which is why they kept going up, putting their ears to it, wondering who the heck is talking. And the most disturbing part, I guess, is that the whole time Anna was babysitting, she was being watched by this unknown person. So yeah, that's also a super creepy story, especially because we do own one of these cameras, and I always worry about like Ring cameras and security cameras being hacked, which is obviously something you never want. Alright guys, so let's get right into these very eerie true stories. This first one is called Don't Open the Door. This story is about the creepiest thing that this guy saw on his doorbell camera at night. He looked one night and saw that these two cops had come to his door, and they just stood outside the door talking to each other about if he was home or not. Now he was home at the time, and his dog actually alerted him of these cops and began whining and barking at the door, which made him look at his doorbell camera. And he listened to them talking for about 10 seconds before calling 911. The operator told him that they didn't have cops dispatched to his house and to stay away from the door and put at least one more locked door between him and them. He also had to stay on the phone very quietly until the real cops arrived. He luckily lived around the block from the fire department, so it was less than 2 minutes later when a fire truck pulled up and the two fake cops ran off. So obviously they seem to be there to rob the place because they figure people will open the door if they see cops there, and people also won't freak out if they walk by the house and see cops kicking down a door because they probably just think it's some sort of investigation. So yeah, just be careful out there guys. If you feel like something is wrong, never open the door. You can always call the police station to make sure that cops are supposed to be there. Next we have a story called Crawling crawling to the door. This is about a girl that used to teach online into the early hours of the morning, and one morning she got a notification and took a look at the Ring camera on her phone, and she saw this man crawling up her front porch steps on his hands and knees, and then he came right up to her door, crouched down, and began scratching on it as if he was some sort of animal. She was so freaked out, she woke up her dog and he ran over to the door and began barking loudly, and thankfully the loud noises scared this strange man away, and he ran down her driveway away from view, and honestly she was afraid to leave her house for the next 7 days, which I do not blame her. Imagine looking at your camera and seeing someone crawling towards you. No thank you. The next one is called Sleepwalking Brother, and this is like a mix of creepy and also really sad. This is about a guy who had a little brother who was a sleepwalker. One night his family got alerted that he had snuck out of the house while still asleep. His sister had said she heard someone talking just outside their door, and when he looked at the doorbell camera, he saw his brother standing on the porch having a full-on conversation with nobody. The more he listened, it sounded like his brother was talking to their grandfather, but he was saying things like, "I love you," and "I'm going to miss you." So his dad went out and brought him back inside, back to bed without waking him up, and the family didn't really think too much about it at first because these things just happened all the time. Well, a couple hours later, his family got a call telling them that their grandpa had passed away while asleep. Now, his brother says he doesn't remember sleepwalking and walking out on the porch and talking to their grandfather, but they all have the conversation recorded on video, and if you listen to it, it's a lot of mumbling, but he does say the words, "I'm going to miss you," a few times. So it's really sad, and I've heard a lot of stories about people having loved ones come to them right as they're passing or right after they've passed to like say goodbye. So that's really sad. Then we have a story called Early Morning Playdate. Now this happened at 5 in the morning. This husband and wife were asleep and suddenly they got a doorbell notification on their phone, and when they took a look, there was a toddler still in their pajamas just standing on their porch. So the husband says hello, and the kid says,
"Can Trevor come outside to play with me?"
Now Trevor is their son's name, and this husband was still like half asleep, so he responded with,
"Not right now, sorry about that."
And he turns over to start sleeping again when reality suddenly hits him and he's like, "Oh no, there's a toddler on our porch." So he rushes out of the house to track down this wandering toddler in the middle of the winter, and he finds this little boy just walking down the street barefoot in this freezing weather. And it turns out this little kid went to their son's daycare and had somehow memorized the way to their house. And it's just a really good thing they were able to find him and bring him back home safely, because if they didn't, who knows what would have happened to this poor kid. But there is something eerie about looking at your camera and seeing like a little kid on your porch in the middle of the night. Yeah, no. Then we have one called Listen for the Music. There's a creepy story about a Honda Civic that was riding back and forth slowly around this couple's neighborhood while playing ice cream music loudly out of the windows. Now, it was the middle of the night, so they hoped it was a prank or some sort of joke, and hopefully nothing more sinister, because obviously kids are drawn to the music of an ice cream truck, and it would be terrifying to think that this car was playing that music to lure kids out of their houses at night. I don't even want to think about that. So while I was doing research for this video, I found this strange thing called the doll game. I found this article that talked about how you can make sure that the dolls you have in your house aren't haunted. It is said that apparently if there's a spirit in your doll and you put it in front of a night vision camera, their eyes will glow in the camera just like it does with human eyes or animal eyes. And apparently if there's nothing inside your doll, it will just look normal. There will be no glowing of the eyes whatsoever. So some people were literally going outside to place their dolls on their porch at night so they could look at them through their doorbell night vision camera. And this is just so creepy to me, and I feel like I have so many creepy dolls in my house that I kind of want to try this, because we do have a night vision doorbell camera. So let me know if you want us to do that. It will obviously be over on the vlog channel, but I'm kind of scared too, because if I see glowing eyes, it's just over. I don't know how I'm gonna live with that. So this story happened back when I believe I was in grade 6 or 7 at the time. And a lot of you guys watching right now might be around that age. That might be a grade you're in. So listen up carefully because I have a lesson for you today. I think I've said this many times before, but Neopets was like the best thing to be on after school. It's not really as popular nowadays, I don't think. I don't even know if the site is still up. Is it still up? Let me go see if the site is still up. I'm actually really curious about this. Oh, do you want to see my lock screen on my phone? It's so funny. Isn't that funny? It's a statue like blowing gum? Blowing a bubble? I like unique backgrounds. Neopets.com. I don't know. It's still up! I can't believe that! Welcome to Neopets. That is insane how it's still up. Dude, like, that's crazy to me. I wonder if I actually logged into my account, if my little Neopet would still be there. Actually, let's be serious. He's probably dead. I haven't fed that thing in like 12 years. He was beautiful while he lasted though. No, but for those of you who don't know, Neopets is kind of like a Tamagotchi. You know how you fed it, you take care of it, you like play games with it? It's like a Tamagotchi, but it's an online place to like play and meet other people, and there's different worlds and like maps, and it's so complicated to describe to you guys if you don't know what it is, but basically you're taking care of a Neopet. And no, this video is literally not sponsored by them because I don't even know they existed anymore, so Neopets. If you want to reach me, you know how to get me. No, but I don't know what it was about this site. I mean, I know I was really antisocial back in the day, so I think after school, I basically ran to my computer right away and just looked up interesting websites. I played Roller Coaster Tycoon all of the time. Oh gosh, I probably spent like 3,000 hours on that thing. No, but like, you know, the Club Penguin, there were these other just sites that kids could go on, like Barbie.com, all kinds of amazing things. But Neopets was like the place to be. It was the place of all places. And it got to a really unhealthy point because after school I would literally skip my homework to stay on this site. I'd be on it from like 4 p.m. after school until like 10 p.m. Sometimes I'd go till like midnight. So my dad actually had to set up parent controls on my computer. It's where like I think at 9 p.m. the internet shuts off like just on my computer. So I'd be in the middle of like feeding my Neopet a biscuit, okay, after it deserved one, and all of a sudden the internet would just be like, no more biscuit for you. And I would be so upset. I'd be like, Daddy, he didn't even finish eating his food. Who are you? But after a while, I knew that at 9 o'clock the internet was like turning off, so I'd just put my Neopet to bed and be like, until tomorrow. Parent controls were the worst thing ever, but like looking back at it, I understand as a parent how you want to like get your child away from the computer if they're literally on it their entire life. And that got me back to finishing my homework and all kinds of stuff, but it was still a pretty severe addiction. And it's so stupid. It's literally just sitting at a computer feeding a fake animal. They weren't fake to me at the time though. So let's get into the whole webcam thing. So there are these chat forums on Neopets. It's where you can trade gifts and items and just talk to them, ask advice for how to finish certain levels of games, and just a place where anybody can talk. And looking back, it's not the most safe situation for someone in grade 6, let's say, or even younger or anything like that, because you don't really know who you're talking to. You literally are looking at this avatar of a person. It's not a real picture. They make up the username. They can tell you that they're any age. They don't have to, you know, be honest about it because they're literally online. You can't even see them. So I probably talked to like 10 different people every single day, and I just assumed they were my age. Like, oh, they must be 10 or 11 or 12 because that's how old I am and I'm on this site because like, stupid Jessii. Listen, if you're younger, and even if you're literally like 24 like me, chat forums online, unless you know the person in real life or they have like more than one picture, it's just, be careful. So I started talking to this guy. I don't remember what his name was, but I remember his avatar was this fluffy dog fox sort of thing. It was blue. It was gorgeous. He called it like icicle or something, and I was like, that is a beautiful Neopet. I like his Neopet. So we began talking every single day, and I remember developing this crush on him. I had this crush on a guy that I never met. I didn't know what he looked like. He could have been 64, and I wouldn't have known. So Mom, if you're watching this, you're probably cringing and wishing you can go back in time and like stop my stupid self from doing that, because no one wants their child talking to a possible 64-year-old. Obviously. But at the time, I just, ignorant bliss, okay? Ignorant bliss. Don't you love it when your neighbors watch you film? Hello! Just talking about Neopets. So, how's your day going? They're just staring at me, it's fine. They're just staring at me. So one day, I'd say it was like 2 weeks after talking, this Sparkle Fox Blue dude decided to say, do you want to Skype? And I had never used Skype before. In fact, I didn't even know what it was. And then he was like, oh, it's like you go on webcam and you talk to each other. You can either chat or you can like video chat or, you know, just do audio chat, whatever you want. But it's an area off this website where we can hang out and talk. So first I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. To be honest, I was nervous about my parents finding out because they always told me, don't talk to strangers. Just don't do it, kids. But after a while of him like pushing me to do it, it was literally peer pressure over here. Like he was like, you should do it because we're really good friends. Why wouldn't you do this for me? So eventually I downloaded Skype and it was so hard to install because I was in grade 6 and I was like, what is technology? It took me like 3 hours. But finally it was set up and he asked me to add his username. And his username wasn't the username he had on Neopets. It was like this totally other like Dragon Man 472 or something weird like that. But I was like, oh, it's fine. Like, it's fine. So I add him and we're talking on there for a couple days and finally he's like, do you want to like video chat? Because we could do that. And I was like looking in the mirror and I'm like, I look like there's a rat's nest on my head, but I guess so. So I'm pretty sure he presses the video call thing on his end of things because I started getting this, you know the Skype call sound? It's like, doo doo doo, doo 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 doo. You know the sound, right? And so I press accept and right away I can see like myself. It shows me a picture of myself and I'm just sitting at my desk. But then on his end of things, it was just a black screen, okay? It was literally just a black screen. I could not see him. I don't know if he was in the dark. I don't know if he put a sticker over his webcam. I just wasn't sure what was going on. So I was sitting there awkwardly and I was like, okay, so where are you? And I suddenly heard this voice and it did not sound like a little boy's voice, okay? It sounded like deep and matured and he was like,
Oh, shoot. I guess my webcam's not really working, but we can still keep talking.
and I found this kind of weird because I could see myself, he could see me, but I was talking to just this black screen and I felt really uncomfortable just knowing that he was sitting in his room looking at myself on his monitor, you know what I mean? Like it was very, very weird. So I started feeling very uncomfortable and right away I knew like this is such a bad idea. But he was like,
Oh, don't worry, like I'll fix it tomorrow, everything will be okay.
and he starts asking me about myself and I was like, hey, how old are you? Like suddenly like I was literally starting to think logically. I was like, are you 11? You have a really deep voice for an 11-year-old. And he was like,
Oh, I might be a little bit older than that, but don't worry, like we're friends, we're cool, like it's alright.
and right at that moment, I literally ended the call. I deleted Skype. I like got rid of it completely. Went on Neopets. There's this blocking option on Neopets, so I blocked him. And I literally stayed up at night for like 2 days in a row just thinking about what I'd done, wondering who this guy was. He was a stranger. I didn't know what he looked like. I didn't know how old he was. I mean, he could have just been like 13 and his voice matured quickly. I don't really know. But if this is any lesson to you guys listening right now, do not go on webcam with people that you do not know, okay? They could be lying about anything. It's super sketchy. You don't want them to find out any information about you. You don't want them to find out where you live. You want to be safe because you do not know what their intentions are at all. And it's quite disturbing. Just even talking online to people who you don't know, just be very careful. And overall, if you could learn anything, never meet them. Never meet them. Have you seen horror movies? Don't do it. So yeah, that was my very scary Skype webcam experience, and it took me like 2 years until I was able to like webcam with my friends after that. But obviously after that, I just used Skype to talk to my family and my best friends, and I started to love that app, but just for family and friends, okay?
In an enchanted realm, an oddity stirs, beckoning the curious. Meet Jessii, once ensnared, now awakened, waiting to be yours.